Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto got banished by council and got harem? Part 2. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. It has been 2 years since Naruto had been brought to this world. He had been constantly traveling from one place to another, hunting monsters and fighting cultists. He had several kinds of monsters in his travels, each one unique in some form, and each one added more information in his book. Naruto thought about the friends and allies he had made in his travels. He had stopped in a town for supplies or to gather information, only to find out a monster attacking the village or cultists causing problems for the townsfolk. Naruto chuckled aloud to himself, thinking how he did the same thing back in the elemental nations. He somehow inspired people in their darkest moments. The monsters he had discovered were broken into various branches based on the type of wyvern class they fell into. The only exception being elder dragons, which were a class of their own. Right now, Naruto was in the feline nation of Thera. The nation was famous for being more technology advanced than the other nations. He had entered the country a few days ago and was already hearing rumors about monster attacks from a few villages he passed through. He also heard about how the country was recovering from an invasion attempt led by the dark sorcerer Mumra. The country was hurting from the lives lost, including their king who was killed by a traitor. They were eventually able to free themselves and drive off Mumra and his allies with help of the land's most skilled warriors, the ThunderCats. Currently he was just headed to a nearby village to investigate rumors of a pair of monsters terrorizing the village. A loud roar made Naruto rush towards the village. The monsters attacking the village were Rathalos and its mate the Rathian. Naruto acted quickly, throwing a few explosive tags at the monsters to draw them away from the village. He saw a large lake nearby and headed towards it to set the stage for the fight. Naruto started off focusing on the Rathian first, keeping the Rathalos busy with clones, drew his water sabers and launched himself at the monster, striking quickly against the monster, following up with launching piercing pods at Rathian. The pods were strong enough to go straight through the scaled hide of the monster. Naruto prepared a water jutsu to bring down the Rathian in the air, water style. Water cyclone the attack, slamming into the Rathian in the air, forcing it to the ground and stunning it, as then followed up with a water spell. The spell formed a whirlpool with white rings on the inside. The whirlpool had blades on the inside rings to trap and damage the Rathian. The Rathian was on its final legs when Naruto leapt into the air and performed a forward spin attack, striking from head to tail. The Rathian gave one last roar before falling to the ground for good. The Rathalos was enraged by his mate's death and quickly moved towards Naruto, revenge on its mind. Water style. Water shock wave, Naruto said, the wave slamming hard against the monster and slamming to the ground. Naruto rushed towards the fallen beast, striking with the sabers, moving from head to tail, striking wherever was open to attack. The Rathalos moved towards the air, hovering in place to unleash his fire breath upon Naruto. Reacting quickly, Naruto fired off a flash pod at the Rathalos' face to blind it and make it crash into the ground. Naruto started hacking away at the tail of the monster. The tail functioned as a deadly weapon that sliced into its prey and weakened them through poison found in the spikes. Naruto charged up the blades before performing a multi-hit combo that severed the tail. The Rathalos was quick to recover, catching Naruto in its claws and throwing him across the area and into the lake. Naruto retaliated with another water jutsu, water style. Water dragon, the jutsu forming a giant water dragon that crashed into the Rathalos and slammed it into the ground. Wanting to finish the fight, Naruto placed 2 large barrel bombs next to the stunned creature, then moved back to fire a bomb pod at the barrels. A loud explosion tore through the area, followed by the death cry of the Rathalos. Sealing both away for later, Naruto headed towards the town to see if they needed help of any kind. As he got near the town entrance, he saw an older-looking feline dressed in simple clothes waiting for him. "I'm guessing you are the mayor or leader of this village?" Naruto asked. "Yes, I am. On behalf of my village, we can't thank you enough for defeating those 2 dragons. They have been terrorizing my village and its people for days now, ever since they first appeared," the village elder replied. Naruto rubbed the underside of his chin and thought, "I am glad I could help. Have you heard of any other monsters in the area? I am trying to gather as much information on them as possible so I can pass it along to others," Naruto said. The elder nodded his head in understanding and motioned Naruto to follow him. "I have heard rumors from travelers and merchants about monsters being spotted in a few spots. I have a map in my home that will show you the locations of the monsters." Naruto nodded his head in understanding. "Thank you, the more information I have on monsters the better. Then I can focus on getting out to the public as fast as possible." Naruto thought about how each time he met a monster, the more data he gained. It ranged from attack patterns, weaknesses, to where the monster makes its home. When Naruto entered the elder's home, he noticed he had the map spread out and placed markers on what he thought to be the monster locations. "I only know of 2 monsters still around in this area. The first one is in a molten lava cavern. The cats have seen it described as a massive beast made of stone. The other one is in the desert canyon area. It uses a powerful sound attacks to disorientate anyone who gets close to it. Naruto nodded his head in understanding, he then brought out an artifact from the vault in Yuzu. The artifact was called the Whirlpool Slate, it is a multifunctional device. He was currently using it to scan the map so he could bring it up at any time on the device, this way he could check his location at will. The elder saw Naruto holding a strange rectangular device in his hand and asked Naruto what it was. I am curious my boy, what is that strange device you are holding? Naruto quickly explained it was built by my family but put in storage when our land was attacked by invaders. Only now it's back in service, but I must figure out all of its functions on my own since the instructions were damaged. Looking at the map, the nearest monster was the one that used sound attacks. Thankfully I have armor that should help block out the sound attacks, Naruto thought to himself. Before I go, can you show me where I can pick up supplies and sell some unwanted thing? I try to stock up on supplies whenever I can, Naruto asked the village elder. Yes, I can. We don't have a vast choice of items since we are a small village. To see a better variety, you would have to travel to the capital. They have the largest market in Thera. After he finished stocking up on supplies and thanking the elder for the information, Naruto headed out to the first monster he would fighting against. The village gave him a happy send-off with everyone wishing him luck in his fights. Naruto moved at a brisk pace to get to the area where the first monster has made its home. He wants to get there quickly before anyone gets hurt or killed. Soon enough he reached the area known as Red Canyon. Naruto then took the time to get his armor and weapon ready for the battle. Naruto put on the Basil Helm Alpha, High Metal Mail Alpha, Basil Vambraces. They would block out the monster's sound attacks. He decided to wait on putting on any more armor and selecting a weapon until he knows what he is dealing with. Naruto then moved into the canyon area looking for tracks or marking that will lead the monster. He sees tracks from herbivores and smaller monsters, but not the ones he is trying to find. It was a few minutes later that he found the first set of tracks of the new monster. Naruto followed the tracks further into the canyon. Soon he had followed the tracks to a large clearing. The clearing had a small lake and a medium plateau, with a worn hill path going up the left side. With all the tracks he found, he was able to hit the monster as a mana blows. Naruto opened his journal to the new page to read the description of the monster. The Montesiro's desert-dwelling wyvern able to burrow swiftly through sand. It puts its horn to lethal use with a charging thrust, and while it possesses no breath attack, its roar is loud enough to split human eardrums. The journal showed the mana blows was weak to the thunder element. Naruto decided to use his thunder sword and shield for the fight. The weapon collaborates best with fast-moving enemies and at the same time allows the hunter to move quickly during the fight. He equipped the Kadachi Coil Alpha and the Shock Charm 3 for added thunder damage to mana blows. The ground beneath Naruto's feet started to shake, signaling the start of the battle. Naruto also slotted sonic bomb pods in his launcher. They would release sonic waves into the ground that would force mana blows to surface from underground. Trigger mana blows opening cutscene. Naruto grabbed his weapon the Thunder Edge 2 and stood ready for mana blows to make the first move. The mana blows lowered its horn and charged towards Naruto, hoping to spear him for large damage. Naruto dodged, rolled to the right and fired off a flash pod, blinding the monster. Naruto rushed forwards, unleashing a powerful combo on the monster and finishing with a jump in the air, charging the shield with lighting charka, then slamming it down on mana blows, inflicting severe damage. Mana blows struck back with a tail slam that sent Naruto flying across the battlefield and crashing into the canyon wall. Naruto shook his head to clear the stars from his eyes from the blow. Naruto rolled out of the way from the charging monster. Naruto fired a lightning bolt spell at the mana blows while it was recovering from hitting the wall from the charge. Naruto then followed up with a lighting jutsu lighting style. Piercing thunder spears the attack, launching several spears at the monster, exploding on impact. The monster roars in pain, the spears causing major damage and pushing it back. Naruto rushed towards the beast, focusing on the head to do critical damage. Naruto dodged, rolled to the right to avoid the claw swipe, but got slammed by the mana blow's spear-like horn. The attack cut deeply into the armor, but still managed to hold together. Naruto shot a flash pod at the monster to down a potion to recover from his wounds. Mana blows jumped into the air and hovered in a single spot. It fired off a screech attack towards Naruto. Naruto dodged out of the way, the attack shattering the boulder the attack hit. Mana blows continued firing off sonic blasts, creating small craters in the area. Naruto readied another jutsu to fire at the monster lighting style. Crashing thunderbolts, the technique brought several thunderbolts from the sky crashing down against mana blows. The attack disoriented the mana blows, it landed on the ground then charged towards Naruto, with its horn lowered trying to impale Naruto. He rolled to the right and struck the monster as it passed by him. Naruto charged lighting charka into his sword and ran towards the monster. He then swung his sword, releasing the charge energy in the form of sickle moon's strike against the monster. The attack manages to stun mana blows. Naruto runs straight for the head, unleashing a final combo before leaping air into the air and smashing his shield charged with lighting charca into its head, finishing it off. Naruto seals away his armor and places his weapon on his back for protection. He then walks towards the corpse and seals it away to be processed later. Naruto got ready to move on to the next hunt. He felt that he was not alone in this area. He could feel someone's eyes watching him. Naruto could not see the presence that was spying on him. He could only assume where he or she was, since he is unable to pinpoint his location. Naruto headed out to the next area guessing that he would be followed. He didn't like not knowing who was there, but there still was another monster left to take care of. As soon as Naruto left the area, his spy disabled the invisibly technique he had on himself. So that's the infamous monster hunter. He is skilled just as the rumors say. The feline spy was Tigra, older brother to the current king of Thera. Like many others, he heard the rumors of a pony wandering the lands hunting the monsters that had appeared suddenly out of nowhere. It was believed that they relate to the cult that has been causing problems in various nations, but nothing has been confirmed. A beeping noise drew Tigra from his thoughts. Noticing it came from his radio, he answered, knowing it's the base looking for an update. Tigra here. It's Uchiha. Were you able to deal with the monster in the canyon area? No, the monster hunter beat me to it. He is as skilled as the rumors say. Tigra was impressed with the pony. He is very skilled. So, the hunter is here in Thera, just as the rumors say. That's great news for us, since we could use his help with the monster we are dealing with. It was able to take down Anthro, who is easily the strongest amongst us, Chitara said. Tigra knew what creature she was referring to. The monster had taken residence in a volcanic cavern network. It wouldn't have been a problem for anyone, except the cavern is rich in minerals and materials. This made the cavern especially important to everyone, especially the town nearby. Anthro was investigating the cavern with a team and was attacked by the monster. Anthro stayed behind to give the soldiers time to escape the beast, but suffered the worst damage from his actions. He is headed towards the other monster in the area. Once he is finished with that hunt, then I will approach him, Tigra said. Okay, I will make Lion-O aware of the new developments that are going on right now, Chitara replied. Tigra sighed to himself and looked out at Naruto's retreating form. I really hope you can help us, Tigra thought to himself. Naruto continued the path towards his next hunt. According to the map, the monster had made its home in an old mining cavern. He learned from a few of the villagers that the creature is made of stone, so normal weapons can't pierce its body. They also talked about seeing the monster appear and dive in large pools of molten lava and rock. They also warned of the hostile creatures that inhabit the caves long before the monster appeared. They first thought monster was simply another version of the same creatures, but they were proven wrong when the new monster forced the others out of their territory. They called the creatures Kragans. They were made of stone, but had lava-like blood. The feline miners who first met them found that out the hard way when they destroyed one of the smaller ones with a well-timed hit from a pickaxe. The size of the monsters ranges from ones the size of medium dogs to large houses. Right now, the only things I know about the monster is that it appears to be made of stone, and it also prefers to make its home in molten rock pools, Naruto thought to himself. Naruto discovered that he had reached the mine entrance. There were signs of fighting outside of the entrance with the monster inside. There were scratch marks from two different creatures. One of the marks was glowing because of the tracker flies, but the other wasn't. This was strange to Naruto because the flies light up any monster tracks of any kind, but these ones remain dark. I wonder if these are from the Kragans that the villagers warned me about. Naruto continued into the cavern in search of more tracks to id the monster and figure out what the other tracks belong to. As Naruto entered the cavern, he walked down the path which was lined with support beams on the walls and a mine track on the ground. He didn't see any more of the monster tracks at first, mostly just more of the unknown tracks. He collected various pieces of ore from various blue crystals along the path. The ore was an exceptionally good find because he used them to strengthen his weapons. The path soon opened into a massive cavern. This was the miner's main cavern due to the rusted equipment around the area. In the area were also 3 large lava pools along several smaller ones. There were also many tracks from the monster he was hunting. Soon enough he collected enough to identify the monster, which is called a Gravios. The large wyvern found in volcanic zones. They have a fiery breath attack and the ability to emit a sleeping gas. They have extremely hard scales that deflect most weapon attack. According to the journal, the Gravios is weak to water attacks. I'll use the Great Hammer because that will do more damage to Gravios than my dual blades. It will allow me to hit the monster harder and break through its heavy scale defense, Naruto said. Now that he was ready, Naruto began moving towards the largest lava pool. He had seen signs of movement beneath the surface of the lava, signaling that was Gravios' location. As he moved closer to the pool, he noticed a strange creature from the corner of his eye. Kragan from Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Naruto had no time to figure out what the creature was because it rushed forwards and tried to take a bite out of him. Naruto quickly swung his hammer, smashing the creature into pebbles. What was that creature? I wonder if the creature makes its home here in the cavern. Naruto thought to himself. A loud rumbling pulled Naruto from his thoughts, the noise coming from one of the larger lava pools. From the pool appeared a much larger version of the creature he just fought, also several more of the one he just fought. Baddest Kraken from Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Acting quickly, Naruto summoned several clones to manage the smaller ones while he focused on the large one. The clones took out the smaller Kragans with well-placed explosive tags and bomb pods. The Lager Kragan was proving to be more of a challenge, with its body being thicker and harder than the other ones. Naruto ordered the clones that were left to distract the large beast while he rushed forward to unleash a large Rasengan on the beast. Its chest had several cracks on it from repeated hits of explosives and impact of his hammer. Naruto fired of a flash pod, blinding the creature as he moved forward to strike, the clones laying down covering, firing off water bullets to keep the beast off balance until he reached the chest. The Dome Rasengan, Naruto shouted, driving the attack deep into the beast, breaking through its armor shell and tearing into the beast. The monster gave off a loud roar of pain as the force of the Rasengan sent it flying back into the lava pool. The creature appeared once more from the pool. Naruto readied himself to fight, but the creature collapsed on the ground and didn't get back up. Naruto downed a potion to help recover his strength from the fight. He still had the Gravios to deal with, and these strange stone creatures merely delayed him. Naruto approached the largest of the lava pools, ready to fight against the monster living in the pool. Trigger Gravios intro scene. Naruto put on his modified goggles. They scanned an enemy target, highlighting weak points on the target. This let him know where to focus his attacks for maximum damage on hunts. They also allowed him to see in the darker, poorly lit areas. The main weak points are the head, tail and stomach on the Gravios. The stomach is protected by 2 layers of scales. Both will have to be broken through before reaching the soft flesh underneath, Naruto thought to himself after scanning the monster. The Gravios let loose a powerful roar that shook the cavern, signaling the start of the battle. Naruto first fired a flash pod at the Gravios, blinding the creature, allowing Naruto to rush forward and start hammering away at its legs. The monster responded with stomping its fight on the ground, Naruto constantly moving back and forth, switching from one leg to the other for maximum damage. The Gravios switched to a charge attack, clipping Naruto and slamming into the wall, then hitting ground with a large thump. Naruto quickly got to his feet, was forced to grapple up to the ceiling to avoid another charge attack from Gravios. Naruto, seeing his chance, struck back with a water jutsu. Water style. Water bullets, Naruto cried, the bullets cracking the beast's armored scales on impact. Naruto followed up by dropping a stalactite from the ceiling, making sure to hit the cracked scales on Gravios' back. The impact stunning the monster and knocking down on the ground. Naruto focused on Gravios' head for the largest amount of damage. Naruto unleashed mixed combo of light and heavy attacks. He followed up with more water bullets to further pile on the damage. The Gravios got up roaring in anger and pain. It sucked in air before unleashing a massive fire attack that swept over the area, moving from side to side across the room. The attack missed Naruto, but he got hit by the ending burst. He rolled on the ground to put out the embers. Naruto moved to cover to catch his breath and downed a potion to help recover his strength from the battle. Naruto examined the monster, seeing that the head was broken. He should focus on the other parts to keep up the damage. Naruto jumped back into the fight, starting with the tail. He continued to focus on the tail and legs to further weaken the beast. The Gravios roared once more before retreating into the lava pool. Suddenly Naruto's scout flies appeared and were leading Naruto deeper into the cavern. Naruto knew that the Gravios had left the current area and the flies were leading Naruto to the monster. Naruto knew what the monster was doing. It was retreating to heal from the battle or flee the area. Naruto ran into the tunnels, the tracker files lighting the path to Gravios. He ended up finding Gravios in another large cavern. Gravios was curled up sleeping to recover its strength. This is also a hunter's best chance to do major damage to a monster because of its vulnerable state. Naruto placed 2 large barrel bombs near the Gravios' head and placed a handful of mines near the bombs to add to the damage. Naruto got behind cover and then launched a bomb pod to trigger the trap. The loud explosion was followed by a loud roar from Gravios. The battle was entering the final stage. Naruto focused on the legs and chest, trying to stun the monster once more so he could finish it off. The chest was already damaged from earlier and the bomb trap broke through the remaining layer of hard scales, protecting the soft underbelly. After the last combo to the monster's belly, the Gravios tucked its legs underneath its body and lowered itself fully to the ground. Naruto thought something was off, so he held back from charging the monster to see what it was up to. The Gravios soon followed up with releasing a strange gas from underneath its scales. Naruto knew from the journal entry that the monster also could release a sleep gas that, when breathed in, puts the victim to sleep. Naruto backed off until the monster finished its attack. From what he could see, this battle was over. One last attack should finish off the Gravios, Naruto thought. This attack is a variation of his father's Rasengan that he created. From what he read in his dad's notes, his goal was to add his element to the Rasengan, but was never able to do so. He was glad he was able to carry out his dad's dream. Naruto charged up a Rasengan once more, but started charging the attack with the water element, making the orb darken and have small globs of water orbiting around the Rasengan. Water Rasengan, Naruto cried out, driving the attack into the soft underbelly. The attack dug deep into the monster, ending the monster finally. Naruto sealed away everything he didn't need and the monster for processing later, then he headed towards the cavern's entrance to make his way to the capital to check out the marketplace. He wanted to see if the market had anything he needed for supplies and find out any information on monsters and cultists that may be floating around. He could also see if he could gain more information on Thera for future visits, whether they be hunting related or for personal reasons. Naruto soon reached the entry cavern. He could understand something clearly at last coming through the entrance, and he could also see someone waiting for him as well. From what Naruto could see, the figure waiting for him was Tiger Feline waiting for him. He could tell he had no ill intentions towards him. He could tell from his appearance that he was well-trained warrior. He also gave off the air of nobility, which he could only assume he was from a noble family. "So, you are the one that has been spying on me, I assume you have questions for me?" Naruto asked, curious as to who this feline was and what he wanted with him. "My name is Tigra, spymaster of the ThunderCats. First, I want to thank you for dealing with the monsters plaguing our land," Tigra said. Naruto nodded his head in understanding. He had heard of the ThunderCats in his travels. They were currently led by the Lion-O, who was the current king of Thera. He was forced to take the throne after his father was killed by marerm minions during an invasion of the capital. The nation is still recovering from the war with the Dark Sorcerer. They also had to deal with the 2 betrayals from 2 of their greatest allies. 2 of their heroes had chosen to side with the Dark Sorcerer for assorted reasons, one for power and the other for revenge. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki, how can I help you?" "I was sent to deal with the monsters causing problems, but you beat me to that. Rumors about your skill have spread here. I'm glad to see that you are as skilled as they say," Tigra replied. Naruto merely smiled at Tigra and rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment. Sometimes it felt weird receiving praise from others instead of the hate he was used to. "I am merely doing what I can to help out those in need. Left unchecked, these monsters could do untold damage to everyone and everything that they come across," Naruto said. He didn't want to imagine if any of the monsters were left unchecked the damage they could inflict on the world. He had seen the damage that a single elder dragon did to the zebra nation. He could only imagine what the ones he doesn't know about can or will do. Tigra was surprised at how humble Naruto was being. Others would be basking in the praise or letting it go towards their heads. Tigra was pulled from his thoughts by his radio sounding off. It was Yutara wanting an update on the situation. "Tigra here, what do you need?" "Lion-O wants to talk with the hunter about hiring him for dealing with the monster in. Have you made contact with him yet?" Tigra turned towards Naruto knowing that he heard everything and asked him, "Are you okay with that? The base isn't too far away from here." Naruto nodded his head, "Sure, no problem. I rather not let a monster run loose if I can help it." Tigra smiled at Naruto, glad that he was willing to help, then responded to Chitara, "Yes, I have. He is standing right next to me and has heard everything. We meet up at the base to discuss the details of the job." At the outpost. It didn't take the 2 of them long to reach the outpost, the 2 of them exchanging stories along the way. Naruto told Tigra about the monsters he has seen so far in his journey. As they approached the entrance, the 2 of them noticed that there were 2 cats standing outside the entrance of the outpost. One was a male with red hair and tan fur. He was wearing an outfit like Tigra. He also had a golden gauntlet on his right arm and a sword on his back. The female was a member of the cheetah species. She was wearing a tan top with a brown short-sleeved jacket with a pair of tan pants to top it off. Lion-O and Chitara from ThunderCats 2011. The lion was the first to approach Naruto. Naruto knew from Tigra's description that this was his younger brother Lion-O and the current king of Thera. "You must be the monster hunter I have heard so much about. My name is Lion-O, lord of the ThunderCats and current lord of Thera. My companion is Chitara, fellow member of the ThunderCats." Lion-O then held out his hand to shake. Naruto shook his hand and introduced himself. "The pleasure is mine. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I assume you heard Chitara say I wanted to ask you to do a job for me. The job, as you can guess, is hunting a monster plaguing this land. One of my strongest warriors fought it during a routine training mission with several members of the guard. Do you have any descriptions of the beast? Anything at all could be helpful to me?" Naruto asked, hoping to get as much info as possible. Lion-O nodded his head in understanding. "Anthro, the one who was leading the group who first encountered the monster, is here at the outpost. He took a beating from the monster, but that was because he tried to hold off the monster to let the guard escape." Naruto was impressed by the fact someone was able to hold their own against a monster. They shouldn't be taken lightly. Some of the monsters had some form of unique ability that makes that much more of a threat. The group entered the outpost and headed towards the room where Anthro was resting in. Naruto got many stares from the felines in the base. They had heard that the mysterious monster hunter was coming to the outpost. They were unsure what to make of the pony. They heard the rumors, but seeing him in the flesh was a different matter altogether. The group reached Panthro's room where he was resting. Lion-O knocked on the door and the group went in. Panthro formed ThunderCats 2011. Naruto could see that he was still recovering from his encounter with the unknown monster in the caverns. Anthro, like the others, had heard of the rumors of the monster hunter traveling the lands. He has heard all sorts of talk about strange creatures appearing in different countries or figures in strange cloaks causing trouble. So, you're the famous monster hunter that I have been hearing about. From what the others have told me, you already took care of 2 of the monsters. The one that I fought against was stronger than those 2, so it will not be an easy fight, Panthro said. Naruto nodded his head in understanding. It depends on how much information I can get beforehand. The more info I have on a creature, the easier it is for me to put together a battle plan for the fight. Right now, I just need to know the location of the creature and any info on it, then I can start prepping for the fight. He could see that Naruto was a powerful warrior. He would have to wait and see if he was able to defeat the monster. Another thing he liked was the fact he wasn't arrogant. He dealt with many warriors that let their fame go to their heads, or they think they are better than everyone else. Anthro quickly explained what happened in the encounter with the beast, saying how the monster used only fire-based attacks and created a massive explosion that nearly ended his life. Naruto paid attention to the entire story, taking notes at different spots. He was already starting to plan out how to approach this fight. Lion-O turned to Naruto. I will have one of my guard bring us a map, that way I can give you the location. Is there anything I can give you for the fight? The armory can give you any weapons or armor you will need. Lion-O asked. He didn't want Naruto to into the fight unprepared, especially since he was dealing with a dangerous monster in their land. He wanted to give Naruto any aid he could, since he was unable to help in the fight itself. Naruto held his chin and thought, going over what he would need for the fight. He already had the weapon he would use for the fight. Next step was going over what armor he would use. Finally, he needed to set up his healing potions and slinger ammo for the fight. First, thank you for the offer. I will take you up on it because I plan on making a few items that will help with the fight beforehand. I also need to make sure I have all the med supplies needed for the fight and have quick access to them during the fight, Naruto replied. The others were curious in what Naruto would be making for the fight. They were also impressed with the fact that Naruto was planning instead of rushing off. Lion-O was very curious about Naruto. He gave of the feeling of a seasoned veteran. Panthro had gotten the same feeling. He wondered if he was with a military branch at some point. He turned to Naruto. Naruto, if you don't mind me asking, but did you serve with any form of military? You act like a well-trained warrior or someone who was trained from an early age. Lion-O asked. Naruto understood Lion-O's curiosity. He had been asked that before. I was part of my village's military before I was banished from it. Even before I joined, I was training at an early age. Why were you banished from your village? You are a very skilled warrior from what I have seen during your fight with the Monoblos and the Gravios. Tigra asked as he and the others were surprised to hear Naruto was banished from his village. He had watched Naruto's battle with the Monoblos. Naruto had dominated that entire fight, even when he fought against the Kragans and the Gravios in the caverns. Tigra couldn't figure out why his village would want to get rid of him. The official reason for my banishment was because I used excessive force in preventing my teammate from going rouge and joining an enemy village. He was the last member of a clan in my village. They treated him like he was royalty, Naruto explained. So, you were banished because you roughed up a traitor too much? That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard, Lion-O exclaimed, trying to wrap his head around the fact. Itachi looked at Naruto with a curious expression on her face. I don't understand on what you meant. Did you mean there was another reason to your banishment? Naruto nodded his head. The first was the official reason, but it wasn't the real reason for my banishment. The real reason was there was a group of powerful warriors after me. Rather than put themselves at risk, they banished me to protect themselves. They figured that they wouldn't be attacked if I wasn't there. The others couldn't hide their shock at what Naruto just said. His own village threw him away just to save their own hides. Sorry Naruto, I didn't mean to reopen any old wounds, Chitara said. Naruto merely waved her off. It's fine, I knew from when I first encountered the group while I was away from the village on a mission. They attacked, taking out one of the strongest fighters in the village. After that they tried to capture me but failed. I knew the village would put themselves before me. So, after your banishment you came to these lands to avoid the group that was after you? Panthro asked. Naruto shook his head at Panthro's question. I'm afraid that is not the case. A short while after I was banished, a strange group captured by a strange group. I never figured out why they were after me in the first place, though I had a few ideas why. Can you describe the members of the group? We have been getting reports of strange cloaked figures causing disturbances across Thera. We also believe that they may have a connection to the monsters appearing in the lands. Lion-O asked. Naruto shrugged his shoulders in response, they were wearing black cloaks. I couldn't see any of their features that would identify a single member. The higher ranked members have fancy designs on theirs, but that's about it. I am using the shadows of the Harem as the base design for the cultists, they are what I see in my mind when I think of cultists. That fits the description of the group that has been attacking villages and kidnapping citizens. We have no leads on kidnapped felines, but we know it wasn't for good reasons, Tigra said. Tigra turned to Naruto remembering something he wanted to ask Naruto. Speaking of the cultists, there has also been reports of another group collaborating with them. They were described as a close resemblance to the satyrs, but they have a full goat head and fur-covered torso. Have you heard of anything like this in your travels? The Goatmen from the Diablo game series. Naruto thought about what Tigra was describing, but nothing came to mind. No, I am sorry, but I have never encountered anything like what you just described. I will send a message to a few others and see if they recognize what you are describing. Thank you, any help at all is welcomed, Lion-O replied. If no one minds, I should start prepping for the fight now. We seem to be getting really off track with all the talking, Naruto said while looking sheepish. The others noticed that they had been talking for a while. Lion-O had Tigra show Naruto the armory so he could start prepping for the fight. Naruto started with making flash and bomb pods for his slinger. Next he made trip mines that he could place in the monster's path as a trap for extra damage. Finally, he made some level 2 or high potions. Naruto also made another potion called the Frost Drink. The potion is designed to help keep a hunter cool in areas that have extremely hot temperatures. All the prepping was done. It was time to confront the monster. Lion-O and the others wished him luck on the hunt and would remain at the base when he came back. Naruto thanked them for the supplies and headed out to the cavern that he was shown on the map. As usual, Naruto moved at ninja speed to reach the cave, not wanting to waste any time. He soon found himself at the cavern entrance with signs of the monster's activity there as well. The claw marks and singed hair confirmed that he was dealing with an Elder Dragon class monster. Naruto headed into the cavern, noticing that like in the earlier cavern, that there were small ore deposits around the cavern and there were also small plants in the area too. There were herbs that were used for healing and others that could be processed for ammo for the blowguns. The blowguns were another type of hunter weapon. They fell into the firearm category. The ammo for the guns was made from seeds collected from various plants and gunpowder. The gunpowder was made from plants and certain fish scales. It could be made into 3 levels of quality. Each level would create ammo in that level. Level 1 was the basic ammo or standard type, level 2 allowed you to charge the shot, and level 3 was the highest ammo grade that a hunter could make. I will create a bunch of clones to collect the ore and plants that I need, as well as search the area for more tracks to id the monster, Naruto thought to himself. As Naruto went further into the cave, the earth around him soon turned into crystal. He soon reached a massive cavern with a large crystal pillar stretching from the floor to the roof. The area also had a crystal formation that looked like a massive ramp. Naruto examined the crystal pillar. He noticed at the base, slightly buried in dirt, was a skeleton of an unknown monster. This was a good find to Naruto because the bones of monsters are used in weapon and armor forging strengthen. Naruto continued to explore the caverns, finding more claw marks that helped hid the monster he was hunting as a Teostra. Brutal elder dragons wreathed in flames that spin blazing fire. Teostra are of such a fierce and deadly nature that their movements are closely monitored. Naruto studied the entry on Teostra. It spoke about how aggressive the elder dragon can be and how territorial it can be. The monster's main weakness are water and dragon element weapons. But the monster named Naruto chose to suit up for the fight. He equipped his Black Axe IV for his weapon and Wormsbane Charm 3, Death Stench Grip Alpha, Death Stench Bowels Alpha, Anja Helm Alpha, Guild Boots Cross Alpha, and Kushala Sista Beta. Naruto headed into the lava cavern. His clones had found a small tunnel that led to another cavern and where Teostra currently was. Naruto loaded his sling with bomb pods to help bring down any loose stalactites on Teostra. He soon reached the end of the tunnel and entered the cavern that served as Teostra's den. The cavern was enormous with lava surrounding a large platform in the middle of the area. Cue Teostra's in-game intro cutscene. Teostra let loose a powerful roar before rushing towards Naruto, reacted quickly, dodging to the right and throwing several explosive tags on Teostra's side before detonating them. The blast threw Teostra of its balance and crashed into a wall. Naruto fired off several water bullets at Teostra. While it was dizzy from the impact of the wall, Teostra roared in anger from the damage it fired several fireballs at Naruto in revenge. Naruto countered with water style. Water wall, the wall fizzling out Teostra's fireballs. Naruto moved in close and stuck hard with a switch axe. The axe hacked away at Teostra's scales with a multi-hit combo before Naruto changed it into the sword version and stabbed it deep into the beast's side. Naruto then hammered the trigger on the handle of the weapon. With each pull of the trigger, a pulse of energy was sent into the monster, doing more damage with each pulse. After several blasts, the energy ran out and the weapon returned to its axe from. The more Naruto struck with the weapon, the faster the energy was built up. After the second round of pulse attacks finished, Teostra had enough and roared once more before taking off into the air and moving to another area. Naruto didn't chase after the monster right away, instead he took the time to sharpen his blade and down a potion to help recover from the first round of the fight. Tracking Teostra wasn't hard, the monster had moved to the cavern with the crystal pillar. Naruto fired off 2 bomb pods at the ceiling to dislodge rocks to fall on Teostra, knocking it to the ground. Naruto rushed forwards and leapt onto Teostra's head and hacked away at the hardened fur to expose the soft flesh underneath. Once exposed, Naruto slammed the blade deep into Teostra. Naruto then began hammering the trigger handle once again, before releasing all the stored energy at once in a huge explosion that blew off both of Teostra's horns and did major damage to the rest of Teostra. Teostra got back on its feet and roared loudly. Its next move surprised Naruto because it leapt into the air, then Teostra started gathering energy for an attack. Naruto at once started backpedaling and looking for cover from the incoming explosion. Naruto ducked behind a tunnel wall. A second later the blast detonated. Naruto moved out his mind thinking a revised plan against the monster. Naruto headed back out into the cavern ready to continue his fight. The Teostra had not noticed him yet, so that gave him the chance to set up a trap for the monster. Naruto made a clone and had it place the trip mines at where he hid from the Teostra's explosive attack. The plan was to make the Teostra chase after him and into the trap. Naruto loaded the slinger with piecing pods. Naruto fired 2 at Teostra, drawing its attention to himself and leading it into the trap tunnel. The Teostra charged towards Naruto, setting off the explosives with thunderous roar. The Teostra collapsed to the ground, its body slightly smoking from the explosives. Naruto focused on the head, wanting to do as much damage as possible. He swung hard with the axe, building up energy, then switching to the blade form. The blade cut deeply into the scaled hide of the monster. Naruto continued to slash away at the downed Teostra. He knew that he didn't have much time before Teostra got back up, so he constantly moved between the weak points on Teostra. Naruto finished by charging a large amount of charca into the axe and slammed it down on Teostra's head, causing a massive explosion. The Teostra got back on its feet following the blast. It fired an explosive fireball at Naruto while jumping into the air and trying to fly away. Naruto, seeing his chance for a mount attack, grappled up to the ceiling and latched himself at Teostra, landing on its tail. Naruto started hacking away at the base of the tail, the Teostra doing everything it could to knock him off. The Teostra leapt into the air and slammed its tail against the wall, knocking Naruto off, but before he placed explosive tags on where he was attacking. The explosions were followed by an enormous impact of Teostra crashing into the ground. The tail was blown off in the explosion. Naruto at once charged up a water Rasengan and hit Teostra in the middle of its chest. The attack left a massive scar on its chest that was bleeding heavily. As Teostra got up from the last attack, Naruto noticed that it was limping and heading back towards its nest, signaling the end of the battle. Naruto rushed after it, not wanting to risk the possibility of it escaping to a new area. Before it could reach its nest, Naruto fired off a flash pod at Teostra, sending it crashing to the ground. Naruto rushed forward, dealing a 5-hit combo on Teostra before being knocked away. Teostra then leapt into the air and started gathering energy once again, prepping for its supernova attack. Naruto grappled up to the ceiling and then air dashed away from Teostra to avoid the attack. The supernova tore through the cavern, slamming into Naruto and slamming him into the wall. The Teostra flew off while Naruto was dazed from the attack. Naruto drank a high potion to recover his health and strength. He then sharpened his switch axe and prepared for the final stretch against Teostra. When he reached the cavern he originally found Teostra in, the beast was sleeping in the middle of the molten rock platform. Naruto placed the barrel bombs that he made earlier in front of Teostra and set them off with a bomb pod. The explosion failed to finish of Teostra, but Naruto knew his next attack would. First he charged up a Rasengan in his hand, then channeled more charca into his hand, taking the form of a dragon's head. Finally he added water charca to the mix, making the charca turn darker blue, with water streams circling around his wrist. The attack was a variation of his father's own attack, the Rasengan. Over the years he had expanded on the attack, making several variations off the attack, this being one of them. Water Dragon's Fang Rasengan, Naruto said. The attack taking the form of its namesake of a roaring dragon that opened its mouth, revealing the Rasengan inside its mouth. The attack slammed into Teostra, slamming it into the wall of the cavern. Teostra gave off one last roar before falling to the ground. Naruto gave an exhausted sigh of relief at the fact the monster was dead. The beast gave him several close calls during the fight. It had nearly knocked him into the lava on a few occasions and hit him hard with its supernova attack, blasting him away so it could flee. Naruto quickly sealed away the corpse and headed out of the cave, eager to the others the good news. At the base with the ThunderCats. It had been a few hours since Naruto had left to fight against the monster. Tigra and Chitara were in Tigra's office overlooking paperwork that concerned the base. It was mostly a distraction for themselves to keep from worrying about Naruto. They knew that Naruto could take care of himself, but that didn't stop them from being concerned about his well-being. How do you think Naruto is doing against the monster? Chitara asked as she turned to Tigra, who was sitting behind his desk doing paperwork. Tigra looked up from his work. He could see that she was worried for him. He should be fine. He was able to take down the other two monsters without much difficulty. I trust in his skills that he will be fine. Besides, this isn't his first hunt, Tigra said. Before either could continue the conversation, a knock on the door drew their attentions. And Tigra said. It was one of the guards. Lord Tigra, Naruto has returned from the hunt. The beast has been killed. Tigra and Chitara both looked at one another before rushing towards the entrance. They found Naruto and Lion-O already talking. They assumed that Naruto was debriefing him about the monster. Naruto saw them and waved them over to join in the conversation. As they got closer, they heard Lion-O asking about what Naruto's next move was. Do you have any idea on where you're headed to next? Do you have any leads on new monsters? Lion-O asked. Naruto shook his head, not sure right now. The main goal was gathering information to pass on to other nations, so they are well informed. I am thinking of headed to the capital to pick up more supplies and materials since the town I visited didn't have a vast choice of goods. The others were surprised at the fact that he was headed to the capital. Tigra and Chitara knew that Lion-O intended to invite him to the capital to exchange information with him. That is great. I wanted to ask you to come there anyways because I want to ask you for any information you have on the monsters you have encountered, as well as setting up a way to communicate with you in case we need your help in the future, Lion-O said. No problem, I already do that with Princess Celestia anytime I discover or encounter a new monster. I have a special journal that anytime I encounter a new monster, a new page is unlocked with that monster's information on it, Naruto replied. Lion-O and the others were surprised to hear Naruto had such a unique artifact in his possession. That would make fighting monsters easier with their information on hand. It would allow them to be better prepared for battles. Naruto, would you mind if I looked at the journal? Lion-O asked. Naruto handed the journal over to Lion-O to look at. The journal broke down each monster into sections from the first page with the image and stats of the monster, the next page showed weak points and what weapon type worked best on what weak point, and the last page was a breakdown on what types of material you got from the monster. Lion-O whistled in amazement at some of the monsters that Naruto has met so far in his journey. I am impressed you have fought some impressive monsters in your travels. Some of them I would never want to fight against if I had a choice, Lion-O said, the others agreeing with him, seeing some of the more dangerous monsters that Naruto went up against. Naruto nodded his head in understanding. Yes, I have encountered several monsters, I am discovering new ones just as fast. At the same time, I have found extraordinarily little on the group that brought me here, their current goals. As they were talking, a guard came forward letting know that the transport Lion-O had requested was ready to take them to the capital. We better get going, they are expecting us back at the capital, Lion-O said. The group headed towards the transport, meeting up with Anthro, who was fully healed by Naruto before he left to fight against Teostra. Naruto noticed the strange vehicle that he assumed was their transport. He had seen similar ones in his travels in Thera. It gave him a fright because he had never seen anything like it before. Tigra saw the puzzled look on Naruto's face and assumed that Naruto had never met a vehicle before. Naruto, what you are looking at is the Thunder Tank, Panthro's pride and joy, Tigra said. Anthro shot Tigra a dirty look but didn't deny his words. Everyone climbed inside while Panthro took the driver's seat. Naruto noticed that Panthro smiled when he heard the tank start up. The ride was an enjoyable experience for Naruto. It reminded him of when he stretches his wings and flew. The ride ended when they reached the capital. Naruto noticed the air around the capital was peaceful, everyone walking around with smiles and talking happy with one another. Soon enough they took notice of them and started cheering and clapping for the heroes of Thundera. They smiled and waved to their citizens. They seem happy that you and the others are back, Naruto said to Lion-O in a teasing tone of voice. The group soon entered the palace, the guards saluting them as they went in. They met with an elder lion inside. He was dressed in what Naruto believed to be formal robes. The lion bowed to Lion-O. Welcome back, my king. Have the monsters plaguing our land been taken care of? Who is this strange pony you have brought with you? The elder asked. Yes, Elder Skyfang, the monsters are taken care of. My companion is Naruto Uzumaki, the monster hunter we have been hearing rumors about for so long. He also took the care of the monsters, including the one that nearly killed Panthro, Lion-O replied while gesturing to Naruto. Skyfang was surprised to hear that His Majesty had run into the infamous hunter while dealing with the monsters plaguing their lands. He could easily see that Naruto was far from your average pony. To him, the feeling he gave off reminded him of Princess Celestia. Skyfang turned to Naruto. I must thank you then. When we heard what happened to Panthro, we were worried about other villages coming under attack from the monsters. Naruto waved his hand. Think nothing of it, I was glad I was able to help out. I was able to gain information on the new monsters. Lion-O turned to Sky Fang. I asked Naruto to stay with us so we can set up a communications network, that way if we need his help with monsters or exchange information with each other. If no one minds, I'm going to head towards the market area to check out the wares and pick up any supplies I may need, Naruto said, getting the others' attention. Itachi walked up to Naruto. I'll come with you to show you the way and make sure no one gives you a tough time. Naruto and Chitara headed out to the market while Lion-O, Sky Fang and Tigra made to Lion-O's office to discuss the best way to set up the network. Anthro headed towards the training field to work on the new guards. Marketplace. The marketplace was busy, various felines walking around enjoying the open air of the market. There were a variety of vendors selling distinct items or advertising their wares. The wares ranged from fruits and vegetables to jewelry. As Naruto and Chitara made their way through the market, they attracted many stares from the populace. Naruto figured it was because he was a pony in their nation, and Chitara is one of their nation's heroes. Chitara noticed that Naruto was checking out all the vendors had to offer. She wondered if there was anything she couldn't find. Naruto, is there anything in particular you are looking for? The top things are food for the road, some fabric and clothes since some of mine are getting too worn out, and a few other items I may need, Naruto replied. I know where we can get everything, so let's start with the food and go from there, Chitara said. Naruto nodded his head and motioned to Chitara to lead on, the two exploring all the market, checking different stalls and vendors. As they moved about the market, they came across a vendor selling weapons. Chitara brought up the question of weapons to Naruto. Naruto, I'm curious, do you make your own weapons for hunting monsters? Naruto didn't answer at first because he was checking out the weapons for sale. He was comparing them to his own, seeing if there was anything he could add to his work. I make my own weapons. The ones I use when I am hunting monsters are made from my kills and various ores. That also includes the armor I wear during the hunt. I have different weapons that I use for personal use, defending myself from bandits and such. Chitara thought for a moment. Would you mind showing some of your work to the others? They were curious about them if you are willing. I don't have a problem with that. Maybe when we get back, I can show you some of the advanced weapons as well as the basic ones. I will also bring out a few of my personal weapons that I made before I started hunting monsters. Naruto soon had brought everything he needed for supplies, so he and Chitara headed back to the castle. Naruto noticed that dusk was setting in, meaning they had been shopping for longer than he thought. They meet the others in the dining hall. They started chatting amongst themselves. Chitara made sure to tell Lion-O that Naruto would show the weapons he had made for hunting monsters and a few of his personal ones, which the others were happy to hear. Naruto, I am glad you are allowing us to see your weapons. I want to allow our blacksmith to look at them as well. He is interested in looking at them as well. He wants to meet with you if that's okay, Lion-O said. I'm fine with it. I hope I can see some of his work as well, Naruto replied. The rest of the dinner was discussing some of the monsters that Naruto has met in his travels. Then they talked about what they knew of the cultists' actions and the creatures that the cult employs or uses. Following dinner, Lion-O had a maid show Naruto to his room for the night. Naruto thanked the maid and went inside. Naruto at once unsealed a few of trunks holding his clothes and weapons. He then sat down at the desk in the room and looked over the maps he had, planning out the next leg of his journey. With everything set up for tomorrow, Naruto decided to hit the hay. He would make sure to set up the contact with Lion-O before he headed out. The next day, Naruto got up and taken a shower. He had changed his look up with some clothes he had picked up. He was wearing black steel toe boots with spikes on the toe end for extra damage. The pants were loose-fitting and had a blue flame pattern with a wide outline going down each pant leg. He had on a sleeveless armored shirt on. The armor was tightly woven in between layers of the fabric. On top of the shirt he wore a navy blue combat vest that had several pockets for assorted items and scrolls. He followed up with a dark burnt orange jacket. On the back was the red whirlpool insignia of his clan on his back, with a dragon forming from the end of the whirlpool. Naruto sealed up his stuff and headed down to breakfast meeting with the others. They liked Naruto's change of look and waved him over to join them for breakfast. You decided to change up your look, it looks good on you, Chitara said. Thanks, my old outfit was starting to show signs of being worn out. We talked about yesterday about showing my weapons that I use for hunting monsters. Do you still want to see them? Naruto asked. Lion-O nodded his head. Yes, if you are willing, we can do this after breakfast if that's okay. That's fine with me. Once breakfast was done, the group headed towards the blacksmith's forge. The room was large enough to display the weapons and such. The group soon reached the room and knocked on the door. A gruff voice told them to come in. The blacksmith was a panther. He had various scars and burns from his work. The cat reminded him of Anthro in a way, but not as big as him. The blacksmith walked up to Naruto with curious eyes. So you're the hunter that the others told me about. I have been looking forward to seeing your work since I first heard about you. My name is Blazing Heart, Blaze for short. Naruto held out his hand. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, Ninja Monster Hunter, and several other things. Blaze shake his hand. Nice to meet you. Do you have everything you need, or do you need to grab the weapons from your room? Naruto shook his head and pulled out his weapon scroll. I have everything sealed away in this scroll, just need a sec to set them up. Naruto first set up the first level of the metal and bone level weapons, those being the first and most basic level of the weapon tiers. Then he pulled out a few of the weapon variations that he has used in his hunts. These ones are the first level tiers of the weapons pointing towards the metal and bone weapons, the others are more advanced versions or higher tiers than the basic ones. They are made from different monster parts as well as ores. They were impressed at the weapons, they could see that some were simple to use, but others took skill to wield them. Blaze examined the higher tier weapons easy seeing that they were powerful and made by a skilled smith, he was impressed and amazed at the weapons and skill that Naruto shown in making them. Do all the weapons come with a unique style for using the weapon? Tigra asked. There is a style for all weapons, I have also developed different attacks and techniques with each of the weapon. The armor pieces also have different buffs that vary from piece to piece, they buff range from ones that boost the attack with certain elements or defense against said element to ones that weaken a monster's natural abilities, Naruto explained. The others listened to Naruto's explanation of the weapons and armor and were impressed at what he told them about the armors. The fact some of them offered extra defense against some of the monster's natural abilities was extremely helpful during the hunt. Do you have any other weapons you have made when you are traveling around? Blaze asked wanting to see more of Naruto's weapons. Naruto nodded his head and took out a firearm that was golden in color and had a long cylinder barrel. Caster gun from Outlaw Star, the next one was an katana that when pulled from its sheath, revealed the blade to be made of glowing cobalt crystal. The final weapon seemed a bit strange, it was a dual-bladed weapon, but the blade on one side was shorter than the other. The blades were strange as well, the longer blade was made from strange metal, with what looked like a wave pattern on the blade. The smaller blade was made have the same metal, but the pattern was red on the blade instead of blue like on the other. The others examined the weapons, they astounded by the weapons, each one was created a master. Blaze picked up the crystal blade, he could see that the blade was sharper than any other sword he had forged before. Naruto saw Blaze examining the crystal blade. Be careful with that, Blaze, the blade is much sharper than it appears. Anthro asked a question on everyone's minds, why did you make a crystal blade? I can see that it's very sharp but wouldn't be fragile or difficult to repair. Naruto shook his head. The blade is easy to repair, as for its durability, the blade is incredibly tough, very few weapons can scratch the blade or do damage to it. I like to call it Aoi Haim, which means blue princess in my language. The others nodded their heads since the name fit the blade perfectly. The other weapons were special and unique in their own way. Before they could ask Naruto about the other weapons, a guard burst in the room looking for them. King Lion-O, we have urgent matter, the outpost on the edge of Thera is under attack by strange monster. The base was first attacked by smaller monsters that they were able to fend off the small ones, but a larger monster is moving towards the base. They are asking for help from the monster hunter ASAP. I head over there now, before I left the base, I placed a special marker nearby that I can teleport to in instant. Tigra grabbed Naruto's shoulder before he could move away. I come with you, I will be able to support you with the base's firepower. We can coordinate our attacks with each other with the radios. Tigra said as he handed Naruto a radio headset. If you're ready we can leave, I must warn you though the first time is not the easiest on your stomach. Tigra nodded his head, Naruto then placed his hand on Tigra's shoulder and teleported to his maker at the base. At the base. Naruto and Tigra appeared outside of the base in a yellow flash, Tigra was soon bending over and coughing heavily. Naruto did what he could to help his friend out with medical charka. Naruto summoned a few clones to scout ahead and discover the creature current location and find out what the monster was. The clones came back within a few minutes with latest information on the monster including its name, the Lao Shunlong. Naruto decided to go with range for fighting against the monster and summoned his bow and quiver, Untergang bow, Naruto then placed the quiver on his back and got ready for the battle. He didn't have time to grab armor so he to be careful, there would be times like these in the future, so be prepared. Hey, Lao Shunlong intro scene. This is one of the largest monsters that Naruto has seen so far, but at the same time Lao moved slowly towards the base, it seemed not to care about anything in its way. Tigra headed inside of the base to take command and direct the base to aid Naruto as best they can. Naruto, you ready on your end? I'm ready. Naruto prepped the bow for the battle, the bow was powerful and designed for piecing targets, especially those with heavy armor or scales. The battle started with an ear-piercing roar from the Lao Shunlong. Naruto shot volley after volley of arrows at the beast, unfortunately for Naruto the arrows while piecing Lao Shunlong's scales, it didn't do much damage because of the monster's size. He knew it was time to change up tactics, first he summoned 6 clones to place barrel bombs at the beast's legs to stun it. He drew the monster's attention while the clones did their job and planted the bombs. He started using power coating on the arrows to increase their damage. He also fired off cluster grenades that have a paralyzing touch to them, that way the beast would be easier to fight against it. The end goal of the plan was to stun the creature so that Tigra can hit the monster with the heavy guns if they can take it out or drive it away, whichever possibility comes available. The clones were ready on their end. Naruto fired off a large cluster bomb arrow at the beast. The arrow held a large cylinder filled with spike bombs that explode on contact with the target. He followed that up with an extra large arrow called a dragon piecer. The arrowhead was exceptionally large and tore through monsters' scales limited ease. Naruto ordered the clones to move in while he fired off a net trap arrow. The arrow holds a large net that entangles the target, briefly immobilizing the target. This allowed the clones to place the bombs with attached tags to increase the blast strength of the bombs. Naruto readied another dragon piecer arrow and aimed for the bombs. Naruto released the arrow, detonating the bombs with a huge explosion. Naruto called Tigra. Tigra, now is your best chance for major damage. Do it quickly, it won't be stunned for long. Alright. Tigra prepared the heavy cannons for fire. The main screen in the base showed the stunned Lao Shanlong. How long until the cannons are charged? Tigra asked, looking toward the operators. They are ready now, sir, awaiting your orders. Fire at the monster. Outside of the base, two large cannons glowed with power as they charged with power. The cannons, fully charged, unleashed their energy with a tremendous roar, striking the monster head-on. The cannons did severe damage to the Lao Shanlong, breaking off many scales and parts of its horns. Naruto followed the cannon's barrage with a charge-piecing shot. Naruto could charge Sharka and the arrows for extra damage. The attack hit the open wound on Lao Shanlong's front right leg. The damage was severe, causing it to roar in pain. Tigra, how long before you can fire another volley at the monster? It will be at least 15 minutes before the cannons will be fully charged. I can use the smaller ones to give you support though. Okay, let me know when they're ready. Naruto could tell another volley from the cannons would finish it off. Until then he would have to keep moving. Naruto brought his caster gun. The weapon was designed to fire off rounds that have techniques sealed inside of them. What made them even stronger and do more damage was to channel Charka into the round before firing. The more Charka you channeled, the higher the damage of the round. After learning about magic and how to use it, he developed spell versions of the shells with the same idea for channeling. Naruto readied a heavy arrow shot. The shot was a spell that fired off multiple arrows that struck, pierced a target and exploded. Naruto took aim and pulled the trigger. The gears spun, and a light appeared from the barrel, streaking towards Lao Shanlong, taking the form of a cluster of arrows striking against the monster. Naruto continued moving and striking the monster when the opportunity arose, doing what he could to kill time until the cannons were fully charged. Soon enough the cannons were once again charged up, and Tigra ordered the final volley to finish off the beast. Inside the base, the soldiers were cheering at the battle being over. Tigra was glad that no one was killed or injured during the attack, but at the same time something felt off to him. Tigra, sir, there is a strange figure that appeared on top of the corpse of the beast. Tigra rushed towards the screen to confirm the soldier words. He too saw the figure, noticing the figure fit the description of the cultists. He had a bad feeling why this cult member was here. He called Naruto to tell him what he saw. Naruto, there is a figure matching the description of the cultist that you gave us. Be careful, he may be up to something. I see him, be prepared, we may have another fight on our hands. Naruto replied, wondering the cultist was up to. He was getting a bad feeling from the person. Before he could make a move, the cultist summoned a large, sickly, glowing green crystal. Naruto did not like the feel of the energy the crystal gave off. The energy felt twisted and corrupted. The cultist then slammed the crystal down in the center of the Lao Shanlong's head. The glow from the crystal seeped into the monster. The monster rose once more, brought back to life by the crystal. Crystal same as color as the original spawned across the monster. The monster gave off an ear-shattering roar as the battle was reignited. Naruto fired off a soul spear at the monster. The spell is designed to go straight through armor and hard scales, but cancels out upon impact with the monster. It's possible that the crystal may block magic from hitting the monster, like a nullification shield that cancels out magic spells. Naruto thought to himself. Tigra, as soon as the cannons are charged, unleash everything on the monster. The crystals block magic attacks, but the cannons should deal damage to the beasts. Naruto said he was already moving and firing arrows at the beast. Thankfully the barrier only affected his magic attacks and nothing else. Naruto created more clones to plant more barrels and distract the beast. With the barrels set, Naruto notched 2 arrows with explosive tags and fired both at the barrels, creating a large explosion that caused the monster to fall to the ground. Naruto readied a dragon arrow. Naruto fired off jutsu, taking advantage of the stunned monster, Rift style. Drilling fangs, the attack was 2 large spearing spears from the ground, tearing through the belly of the Lao Shanlong. Naruto then fired off the dragon arrow. It tore through the monster, further weakening the beast. Naruto could easily see the beast was on its last legs, the crystal may have brought it back to life, but it was still damaged from before. Tigra called him, letting Naruto know the cannons were ready to finish off the monster once again. The monster was brought down after the heavy shelling, this time for good. Naruto didn't see the cultist, but he had a feeling this would be the last time that this happened. Tigra met him outside of the base, happy that the monster was dead and that everyone was okay. You didn't happen to see where the cultist ran off to, did you? Naruto shake his head. No, but I don't that this is the last time this will happen, more than likely a test run, maybe two if it would work or not. What concerns me is the energy I felt coming off the crystal, the energy felt wrong to me and has me concerned. The base was fine, and there was nothing else that needed. Naruto and Tigra headed back to the capital to report in. Naruto used the same technique to bring them back. Naruto and Tigra explained everything to Lion-O and the others. They were surprised to hear about the cultists and the strange crystals, the transformation brought on by the crystal. Naruto gave Lion-O copies of the files on monsters. Naruto also gave him a necklace exactly to the one he gave Princess Celestia, except his was in the shape of a lion's head. I take it you are heading out to the next land already. I would ask you to stay longer, but it looks like you would refuse me. Lion-O said. It's for the best, you never know whether or not a monster could be causing problems or the cultists. Naruto replied. Lion-O sighed but smiled at Naruto. He knew that Naruto enjoyed traveling around, and while being here was nice, he stood out amongst the felines. Lion-O and the others soon said their goodbyes and waved Naruto off, wishing him luck on his journey. Naruto was a way out from the capital when decided to stop for a snack. He noticed a presence nearby hiding themselves. He put out extra food, feeling that's what the being was after. If you hungry, I'm willing to share food with you, so feel free to come out, I won't hurt you. Naruto said to ease the state of mind of whoever was hiding from him. From the bushes nearby appeared a cat wearing leather armor. The cat reached his waist and strangely had the same fur coloring as Kurama. Thank you for the food, mister, the cat said, chowing down on the sandwich he gave him. No problem, do you have a name? Naruto asked. The cat frowned and looked down. No, I don't, I have been alone for as long as I can remember. Naruto frowned, the situation reminded him of Own, but he can do something about it. I can give you a name if you want, the color of your fur reminds me of a friend that I knew, his name was Kurama. If you want, that can be your name, he was my best friend. The cat was surprised at the fact this pony wanted to give him a name, especially the name of his former friend. You would really give me the name of your friend? No one has shown me such kindness before. Kurama replied, tearing slightly because of the kindness shown by Naruto. Naruto placed his hand on Kurama's head, rubbing slightly, getting a low purr from the cat. You remind me of him, and I know what it's like to be alone in the world without a friend. Naruto remembered the good times he shared with Kurama after he was able to crack the mask he put on following his father's death. He was the one who supported him the most, especially when he was at his lowest moment because of the Hiruzen's betrayal. Kurama looked at Naruto with happiness, but at the same time he wanted to ask him something, but was nervous about the question. Naruto noticed this and wondered what was bugging the feline. What's on your mind? I can tell you want to ask me something. I promise I will not do anything to harm you in any way, Naruto said, wanting to help his friend feel relaxed. Kurama looked nervously at Naruto, afraid of the answer to the question he wants to ask Naruto. I want to ask to come with you when you leave. I have nothing here, tie me down here. Naruto brought his hand to his face and thought, are you sure you want to come with me? I'm fine with it, but it will be dangerous around me because of my job. My job deals with hunting monsters that are appearing across the lands. Kurama was surprised to hear that Naruto is hunting the monsters that have been appearing across the lands. He had seen a few of them flying in the air and walking around. He made sure to stay away from them so he wouldn't become a snack for them. I still want to come with you. I know how to defend myself from different books and such that I have found and collected. I am willing to learn to help further my skills and watch your back, Kurama replied with firm tone of voice. Naruto smiled at Kurama. He could tell that he was being serious, coming with as well as training to become stronger. Okay then, but I warn you now, the training won't be easy. Kurama nodded his head in understanding. Naruto laughed at Kurama's brave response to the harsh training that was to come. Naruto stood up and dusted any crumbs and dirt off and motioned to his traveling partner, we should get going then. But that Naruto headed off to the next destination along with his new partner, the feline Palico Kurama. What new adventures awaited them? Chapter end. Alright, that's it for today's video guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Peace out.